Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TMP Finance, where we make long and short-term investing simple. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ here and at some other stocks surrounding the NASDAQ today, and I'll tell you my opinion on their price action and where you can expect them to move to. So, without further ado, let's hop into the Fear and Greed Index over here, and we're still sitting at that high greed there. Now, the thing here is when you get to greed, when you get to extreme greed, there are going to be periods where you have these kind of whipsaws, right? Where the market will try to balance itself out. So even though we are in greed and extreme greed, there's a lot of emotion on the table. And all it takes is just, a couple events to happen, and that's when we get a shift. I'm not saying that we go back into a bear trend, but today's video is just talking about a correction that I think the stock market will see in not too far from now, because we skipped neutral. I mean, we spent very little time in neutral. We went straight from extreme fear to fear straight to greed there, and we're in the higher sides of greed right now. So let's talk about the market today. Now let's take a look at the heat map here. It was pretty strong. Google is up. Google's been lagging, same with Apple. I mean, ever since the lawsuits, they've been recovering. And I'm just saying, you know what? Short term, yeah, they may take a little while. But long term, though, I'm looking at those for sure. Google especially, I mean, low PE ratio, low price. I mean, why not, But everything was pretty solid aside from that. But what I am looking for on the NASDAQ chart, what I am seeing is a drop in volume. So this kind of pattern here, I've talked about in previous videos here. And you can see this pattern. It's very, very easy to see, and it's very rounded. It shows exactly like almost if you were to throw a ball in the air, and you kind of see that arc, right? It's that same kind of thing where you throw the ball into the air, and you're seeing a loss of momentum, a loss of buyers, maybe an influx of sellers starting to join the market, and then that's when you start to fall there. Not saying that we're gonna get something of this magnitude. I think that we're in a bull trend for good. I mean, take a look at this higher high, beating out this over here. And people are even talking about a potential head and shoulders pattern, and we are way too high for head and shoulders. I mean, we've definitely passed that. So we're still going to be in a bull trend, but we're just going to be in a bit of a correction, because look at this. Look at the NASDAQ. It's been pumping, and we haven't had any real pullbacks. And within, let's say, 3 weeks from now, let's see how much we're up. And the NASDAQ, we are up to about 20%. Like, come on. Like, it only makes sense. Let's take a look at the Bollinger Bands even. And this is really huge too. This is a pattern that I see as well in the Bollinger Band. So we joined the Bollinger Band, we joined, and then we're starting to lose momentum. We exit out. Same thing with these, with this pattern over here, right? You start to exit out the Bollinger Band. You may have, a couple of doji candles, and that's when you start to correct there. Now, when I say correct, this is kind of what I would be expecting. And we can pop over to triple Q after, because there are a lot of gaps. Again, the NASDAQ's been moving up with so much volume and so much momentum, it only makes sense that we kind of rebalance by filling some of these gaps that we made in the chart. So what's possible here? What can I see in the NASDAQ for a pullback? Well, what I can expect here is either to, we have a bounce over here, or we come down, or we just break straight through this support that we're on top of here. And from here, we can come back and we can retest this support line over here at 6% down. So that's a bit of a jump there, but I mean, you take a look at the other correction we had when we were recovering from the August bear market, and let's take a look at this, right? You had this massive move up, and let's see how much we were coming up from here, about 15%, so almost, that same high digit there as our 20% currently, and then we came down 8% there. So it's definitely in the books, and from this point we still made higher highs. We didn't go back into a bear market, and we made a new all-time high there. So I think it's very possible to get something of that magnitude, and that's why I did sell a lot of my positions today when it comes to Microsoft, when it comes to Meta, and I do believe that I can hold in cash, just wait for a bit of more of a drop, and I can buy back at a cheaper price. Now I will show you some securities that have some really big gaps too, and I'll get back into that later on, but let's take a look at QQQ here, just to show you the gaps in the chart that I'm seeing. And let's take a look here. We have one gap here. This is a massive gap as well. One gap here. We have another gap down here. Not saying that we're going to come and fill this gap here, but I definitely think we will come. And before we get all-time highs, it just makes sense that we kind of get this out the way. Move down to 493 or something adjacent to that. You can look at 495 even if you want something a little bit safer. And then from there, we start moving up. We start making those all-time highs there. And I mean, especially with all the good news we're seeing, Trump squashing the beef with China, setting tariffs for a 90-day pause and reducing rates a lot, the market's really loving that. So that's what I like to see there. And again, it's only healthy. The market is going to move in an oscillating wave. It's never going to move in one direction. And even if it does, in that case, you get these moves where you have the opposite reaction to balance itself out again. The market is very balanced. So always keep an eye out and don't get flustered and don't get a high from all these bullish days here. You still gotta wait for those pullbacks, balance out, rejoin your supports, that kind of stuff. So let's move on over here, and I'll talk about some other stocks that I do believe that we're gonna see a bit of a pullback in. Starting with Microsoft over here. Microsoft is super significant. I mean, we were down here. I mean, this was 2023 prices down here, right? So we had this huge pullback down. And from there, we skyrocketed up, and we're nearly at all-time highs over here. Peep this. I mean, let's see how much percentage we're away from all-time highs. We're 3% away from all-time highs. So if we have a massive pullback where Microsoft drops a total of, let's see here, from this high here, drop down 24%, and then you have a move where you move up like 24% in less time actually than the bear market. That's pretty crazy. And of course, you're just going to have to rebalance there. And look at this gap here. This gap is massive. Just from here to here, you're looking at a, let's see here, looking at a near 7% gap. So that is definitely going to fill before we get new all-time highs. And even if it doesn't, let's say that you're a long-term trader. Typically, I will say if you're holding long-term, doesn't matter what happens, because eventually you will be making money in the long term. But this, I mean, this is a huge pass up, and you don't need to go, to the perfect cent, but at least something like a $400 psychological level, it's just good to, sell. You can short the stock if you want a little bit more risk, a little bit more reward for an 11% drop there. And then from there, you can rebuy, wait for it to go to all-time highs, because again, Microsoft, super solid stock. And we've been stuck in this range for a long time. And it's only a matter of time before we start to break out. And I think 2025 will be a very bullish year for Microsoft, at least where we make a new all-time high there. Now, another stock that I was looking at too is going to be Meta. Meta also popped off quite a bit here, and we can see in just a matter of 3 weeks here, we were up a decent amount here, and let's measure out. We're up 37%. Now, Nvidia and Meta were some of my best trades, and I'll get into Nvidia again later on. Nvidia, Meta, and Microsoft are some of my best trades there, and I'm very satisfied with the way that we performed. And again, all these trades were made public in the Discord. You can take a look if you want more support and you want to learn these entries and how you can capitalize on all the moves in the market, whether it's a bear or a bull market. You can find this information in the link in the description there. But from here, again, we have a few gaps for Meta to fill here. We have this gap sitting at 611, and again, it doesn't need to be, pixel perfect, let's say, but just a general kind of move to there. We also have a couple other gaps here at 560 and another gap here at 508. Now let's talk about these higher high, higher low patterns. Where can we drop down to when it comes to still staying in a bull market? And for that, let's say that we have this move here. I think it's very safe to say at least sell your position and rebuy here at 612, and you'll still save yourself about, let's see here, roughly 7%, nearly 8%. So I mean, to me, that's worth it. If you want to wait till we get down here, that's still possible as well, because we still are making a higher low from that point, but that's definitely something that's possible there too. So let's take a look at Nvidia again, because Nvidia has been popping off. I mean, just in the past 5 days, let's call in the past trading week here, we're up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see here, we made 13.5%. So again, a lot of gaps here. You have a gap over here, you have a gap over here, and we can move down a substantial amount before we even reach support. So we can move down 15% here, and then we'll reach support. And that is still very possible. You have 3 days where the market, has a flash crash, corrects itself, and you can still move from there. But yeah, there's a lot of potential for the market to start moving a little bit lower. And I do recommend keeping some of your money in cash. But the verdict for today is very simple. We are in a bull trend, but we are going to have to rebalance very soon. Just because we've had an influx of buyers and institutions are going to want to buy at a lower price, we have a lot of gaps to fill. And again, it's not just a matter of if, it's just a matter of when we do get those lower highs there. So just be prepared for that. And when it's there, boom, that's when we strike and we get that sniper entry. But regardless, Microsoft, I mean, we made a killing on Microsoft. We bought at this breakout here, and we made a nice 17% before our leverage. Same with Nvidia. We bought on the 22nd of April there, and we're currently up, let's see here, we sold our position today. We're currently up 40% on nvidia, which is absolutely massive in just a matter of a couple weeks there. And same with Meta as well. We bought on the 22nd as well, and we're up 30% on Meta. Now, these are just side trades as well. These aren't our main trades. NASDAQ, we made an absolute killing, and we pretty much had a 9 times leverage on this entirety of the bull market here. We bought at this breakout. This is the very first trade we did. We took profit at this level here at 20,000. We rebought when it crossed over. We took profit over here. And these are all 9 times leveraged trades. We took another trade as well from here to here. And from there, you're looking at 7%. You're looking at, let's zoom in here, 7%, you're looking at 4%, and then 2% there. So call it, let's say 13% before our 9 times leverage. You do the math, we are absolutely crushing this market. And if you are learning to crush this market too, you want to get into how to become a better trader and you want to learn all the technicals behind it, come take a look at the link in description, wap.com/tnp-finance. You'll get access to all the trades that I take, including the take profit, stop loss, and amount that you're risking. You'll also get free trading sessions as well that are one-on-one, whether it's in person or whether it's on Zoom. And you'll also get stock picks for every month on stocks to keep an eye out for. And you can ask your questions in between as well, and so much more. I can't even get into it. But anyways, that's going to be a wrap for today. I will see you guys tomorrow. Best of luck. I hope you did have some key takeaways from this video, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace out, y'all. Later.